Family, what up? We are back. Hey, y'all. I came across this channel, Crystal Nicole, and the title grabbed me. Doctored up, edited messages, text messages between two parties. Like I've been saying forever ago, who came up with the story? Who said that this is what we're going to say, this is how we're going to say it, this is who played what part? Who did that? And I just can't get over this residue thing. Why weren't the three people who had present DNA on that tool, why weren't they looked at more closely? They zeroed in on the person that had no residue. Come on, man. It's a deeper reason. Anyway, let's check out this video. Make sure you let me know where you're from, how long you've been tapped in. Let me know what you like the most. And yeah, let's get to the video.
We are going to focus on the charges, how they weren't proven, how we know for a fact that Megan is lying about her and what Tory's team needs to focus on if they really want to make some noise and get some answers with some that can't be denied, that keeps being ignored. So with that said, let's get into it. Now, the first charge was possessing an illegal firearm. Now, when this incident first happened, Tory was not charged with assault or negligence. It took 3 months to finally charge him with that, and then they later added on negligence. The only charge he originally had was possessing an illegal firearm. So, how was this charge proven? If his DNA couldn't be found, the firearm was unregistered, there were 4 people in the car it could have belonged to who were never excluded as having touched this weapon like Tory was. And excuse me, I mean 3 other people in the car, okay? Now, the weapon being found in his car where he had been sitting is only enough to press the charge. It is not enough to prove the charge. So, for example, let's say that they had taken the DNA off the other 3 people in the car like they should have and were supposed to, and the female DNA came back to Kelsey or Megan, or the male DNA came back to be Quan's, or, maybe even Justin's. That would mean it was a possibility it belonged to one of them and not Tory. And if that didn't prove it belonged to them, it would definitely prove that one of them handled that weapon outside of Tory. So they would have to find some other way to prove that it belonged to him, even if he didn't shoot it, due to the lack of DNA present to prove that charge.
It's amazing to me how they can stack up so many things that don't make sense. That's why I'm going to stay on this issue until I feel comfortable. I don't care what any comment says or anything, because it's so blatant that there's something going on. There's some kind of secret agenda. And I can't help but think about the politician, how people say that he was trying to manipulate the vote of the black woman. And if that were a thing, and if it was successful, all of those women should think twice. And that's real talk. You're supporting somebody that will manipulate things for the betterment of self. It wasn't about a betterment of a demographic of people. It was just to achieve the vote. But it goes much deeper too, back to Tory unlocking the matrix. The game was already shifting. And at a time where we were at a reset, here's this dude who's revered a whole different way to get paid.
Megan's original account to the detective was that there had been an argument in the car. The argument escalated when Tory had exposed that him and Megan's relationship to Kelsey, which caused drama because she knew that Kelsey had some affection for Tory. Now, her and Kelsey gets to arguing in the car. Megan gets out the car, and as she was walking away towards the rear of the vehicle, some feet away from it, she hears Tory say, "Dance, bitch," and she turns towards the car and sees Tory shooting at her from the back seat from over top of the car door or window. She felt pain to her feet and fell to the ground. She crawled into an adjacent driveway. Tory and Kelsey came running over to her to check on her. Everybody was in shock that she had been shot. Tory was apologetic and offering money for her silence, saying that he would take her home, and she agreed, and she gets back in the car with him. Now, the problem with this story was that, number one, it makes no sense that her and Kelsey would start arguing over Tory exposing this secret, and then when she gets out, Tory is the one who is upset and starts shooting at Megan. Second, the story Megan gave did not make sense. If Tory is shooting over top of the car door or window, he would be aiming towards the front of the vehicle, not the back where Megan was walking. So how did he shoot her in the feet like that? Not to mention, Tory would have also had to hop over Kelsey to do all of this, as she was sitting in that seat at the time, not him.
I don't even think that Dance B was a thing at all. I don't even think that was said. I think that was painted on there to make bro look more savage. I think it was painted on there to make people look at the situation just way more serious than it was, because it was built on lies. She observed so much while walking away from the vehicle. Okay. How were they able to withhold so much evidence? We're talking about a person's freedom here. How can you withhold so much vital evidence in a court of law where you're innocent until proven guilty? Or is it the other way around?
Told the detective just 4 days after the shooting that Tory had caused the argument in the car to escalate after he revealed that he and Megan had been intimate to Kelsey, which caused Kelsey to get upset because Megan knew that she liked Tory. Megan also admitted that Tory was aware that she did not want Kelsey to know this. So this was a secret that she definitely did not want Kelsey to know about. Now, let's add in what Tory said he apologized for. He said Good had him fucking two best friends and he got caught. That's what he apologized for, but it was sick how Megan was spinning it. So, since Megan had already explained well before she lied on Gayle King that he had exposed their secret to Kelsey, meaning they had been intimate, and she was aware that Kelsey had a thing for Tory because Megan had hooked them up first, according to Kelsey, when he said, Good had me fucking two best friends and he got caught, he was not lying about this, as all parties agreed that this indeed happened.
How do you change your story so much? How do you change your story so much? Which story is credible? Does changing a story so much add to a lack of credibility? Or does it not matter when you have an agenda for a person? They had a plan for Tory, point blank, period. To stack up all of these things that don't make sense and portray it as if it's true, that's scary. For this woman to go so long, quote unquote, unbothered, knowing she altered a person's future, is dangerous. And that's scary. It sends out a message that it's okay. It sends out a message that you can lie on people and not be held accountable. That's not what we need at all.
Now, Tory's defense was that there was an argument in the car because Tory had exposed the secret to Kelsey in the car, causing her to get upset. Kelsey and Megan starts arguing. Tory wanted both girls out the vehicle, according to Kelsey, or Megan wanted out of the vehicle, according to Megan. They pull over. Kelsey gets out the back of the vehicle on the passenger side where she was sitting and starts fighting Megan in the front seat of the car, according to the eyewitness who had called police. Megan is kicking Kelsey. They are pulling hair, punching, etc. It was a pretty violent fight. Jaquan, the driver, gets out the front seat of the car and comes around to break up the fight. Kelsey goes to the car and fireworks and flashes start to come from her. Tory, the short man, jumps out the back seat of the car and runs around to stop Kelsey. He had now joined the fray, angry, cussing and yelling. A neighbor said he heard, "Are you crazy? What are you doing?" The eyewitness said Tory was wrestling with Kelsey for the gun, and shots went flying everywhere into the air. Now, the other girl, Megan, fell to the ground bleeding and crawled into an adjacent driveway. Tory and Quan went over to her. No mention of Kelsey. There was some ruckus in the driveway before he heard Quan say, "The police are coming," and they picked Megan up, put her in the car, and drove away. Other witnesses saw this attempt to flee the scene as well.
What did I tell y'all? The same thing they use as the quote-unquote nail in the coffin was this man apologizing for both of them. And feelings got involved, emotions got involved, jealousy got involved. And I really feel like the argument started not in the car, but at the party. Point blank period. And at the party, you can't leave this out. Tory was flirting with the Jenner chick. That's the only reason that dude apologized to them. How they handled it was how they handled it. But because he was the catalyst to the situation, that's why he took accountability. That's why he tried to stand tall. But at the end of the day, you cannot deny the science, the facts. You can't deny the altered stories, the changes. You can't ignore that. And they're doing it for a reason.
So there is absolutely no denying that Kelsey and Megan had been in a fight. Yet both girls denied this fight occurred while rapping about it in their diss tracks. Megan mentioned that necklace and how Kelsey had been the one to snitch right after with that text to Justin. Not her. And Kelsey responded by lying about her necklace being snatched, just to admit it later to prosecutors in that 80-minute interview. So why lie about this fight if what the eyewitness told police happened didn't happen? This fight is how you know Megan is lying about the shooting. This fight is why Megan lied about being intimate with Tory. So his defense about Kelsey being the shooter wouldn't seem true and Kelsey wouldn't have a motive. Now, not only was the fight evidence that the witness was being honest, but it's also the GSR found on Kelsey's hands with absolutely no explanation on how it had gotten there. Plus, Kelsey and Tory both testing positive for GSR backs up the witness story of seeing a girl shoot and Tory wrestling with the girl over the gun. Who attempted to make it look like Tory had fired shots into the air after intervening with Kelsey? Sean Kelly. What were the original reports made that night? That someone had fired shots into the air, not at someone. Who changed his story at trial to now add a confusing testimony about seeing a gun, not seeing a gun, assuming he saw a gun, after meeting with prosecutors? Sean Kelly. Who was supposed to be a witness for prosecutors and say that Tory had shot the gun, but it was only an accident? Megan Security. Who was the source running to blogs early on claiming that Tory was going to say it was an accident? He didn't mean to shoot Megan. That's yet to be determined. But what it smells like is a setup. This is not a coincidence, and this is why this charge was added on last minute to not make it so obvious. If prosecutors were so confident that this was assault and Megan told the truth, there would have been no need to add on a negligent discharge based off other statements made outside of her. So even they doubted they would get a guilty conviction on the assault charge, but it was possible on the negligent discharge.
Come on, y'all. If this video isn't enough to let you know there's so many things wrong with this case, I don't know what else to say. The injuries aren't matching up with the stories. The stories aren't matching up with each other's, like witness-wise. if both of you are the victims of the same situation, you're going to have your own version of it, but it'll still be the same to fit the situation. I feel like Meg didn't acknowledge a lot of those things that Kelsey acknowledged because I feel Meg was liable for those things, the torn necklace and all that. I feel that's why she didn't want people to focus on the cat fight. Because the cat fight was, it was why. It was the reason. The cat fight. She wanted people to focus on her, quote unquote, getting popped. You just didn't get popped. Probably because probably because she was getting the best of Kelsey. Do the math. Real talk. Let me know where you're from. Let me know how long you've been here. I'm out. Peace.